Watch my life pass me by, never knowing where I belong in the web of love and lies. As you string me along, and I can't see, I'm losing inside of everything I feel. The ghost runs in oh, I just wanna be free. I just wanna be free. Welcome everybody to 9 o'clock live at the Noun Square. Playing a little snippet from Pegboard Nerds, Stonebank and Emo. One of the pieces on Monstercat Uncaged, because our guest today here on Noun Square, 9 o'clock live, is Darlington from Monstercat. Hello, Darlington. How are you tonight?
Yo, I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Hope it was okay to play a snippet there. Don't want to infringe on any copyrights, but wanted to give people a little taste.
I'm sure we're okay with it.
No YouTube copyright strike, you promise?
I'll actually have to get the Noun channel up on the allow list.
Awesome.
Thank you for bringing that up. I'll get that done.
Sounds good. So if you're just joining us here, guys, please retweet the room. As you know, we do a little retweet picker winner, 0.069 ETH to someone who retweets the room when we have this space every single day. Just going to vibe here for a couple more minutes as we give people a little chance to get in here. We're meeting a little earlier than usual tonight, so give people a chance here to join us. Watch my life pass me by, never knowing where I belong in the web of love and lies. As you string me along, and I can't see, I'm losing inside of everything I feel. Lost losing Awesome. So again, welcome everybody to 9 o'clock live at the Noun Square. If you're new here, what we do here is we gather together around the Nouns daily auction. So there's one every single day for an NFT. Noun 544 is currently up for auction with 54 minutes and 22 seconds remaining. So if you're here often with us, you'll know that we normally gather right before the auction is over, but we're meeting a little earlier tonight so that we have a chance to chat with our guest, Darlington here, and also because we're colliding today with our weekly space for NounsDAO. So if you're familiar with the Noun Square, you know that we host 40 spaces a week is what we're up to now. Might even be 41 for different sub-DAOs and different communities within Nouns. And so they've all got these little slots throughout the week that they come and cross-pollinate and chat with their own communities. And Gnars has been doing that at 8 p.m. EST on Thursdays for quite some time now, several months. So because 9 o'clock fell in a collision course with Gnars today, we're going to do a bit of a combo. We'll chat with Darlington, and then we'll get to the Gnars folks a little bit later. And then, of course, at the top of the hour, pretty much we will watch the end of the Nouns auction. We'll play a little game called fomonouns. If you haven't played it before, it's super fun. Basically, it's a gamification of the settlement layer of the nouns. So that means that we get to go on and play like a hot or not type game. We can see which nouns would be minted if we were to settle right at that moment. And if we get enough consensus with the group of us to choose a noun, then it will mint that exact one. And that's one of the many reasons why nouns have been so darn aesthetic throughout the course of 2022, is because we've been gathering here every single night minting beautiful nouns. So you might get to do that with us a little bit later tonight. So without further ado, why don't we chat with our guest, Darlington? How are you doing tonight?
Good, man. I'm looking at today's noun. This is probably one of the most aesthetic nouns I've ever seen. I love this noun.
It's so pretty much. Good.
It's pretty good,
and you've got yeah. And
well,
you got
it's not. The auction's
minutes.
not over yet. There's still time. It's still time.
There is time, and you have about 52 minutes to move some ETH around. So we're giving you lots of time here, lots of warning. I agree, though. It's pretty aesthetic. And actually, Dee's purchased a mushroom noun that looks similar to this one, although not all in red. and his actually went for a pretty penny during the frothy bull market. So I guess people like the mushrooms. That's all I can say about that.
Yo, I like the mushrooms.
Mushrooms are awesome.
Guilty.
Well, for those who might be tuning in and maybe they don't know who you are or what Monstercat is, can you give us a quick primer on your background, please?
Yeah, guys. My name is Mike Darlington. I've been the co-founder at Monstercat now for, oh God, it's been like 12 years. We're an electronic music record label based out of Vancouver with offices in LA and Singapore. We work with indie artists all over the planet, really specializing in all forms of electronic music. We've had a bunch of artists come through the label, go on to become some of the, headlining festival artists around the world. So we've had a good experience of, working, developing, and building talent from day one. I guess I should talk about how this ties into Web3 and into nouns. During COVID, you know, I my artists were in a bad place during COVID. A lot of them were relying upon touring as a major source of their income, and they've done that for most of their career. So when COVID hit, I had to try to find a new way to kind of make up for that lost revenue, and I dove deep down the NFT rabbit hole. Truthfully, it was because I needed to find that new revenue stream. What I learned though was more about how you can connect to a new audience, how you can use smart contracts to better create a layer between artists and collectors, how you can use smart contracts to unlock and enable things like Shopify's and Discords and Telegram groups. Like I didn't know any of that was possible. So yeah, that was about 2 and a bit years ago. My first ever NFT minted was Beeple's Genesis piece. So I got real lucky on my Genesis mint, and I've just
That's
been here
amazing.
from yeah, it was a good moment. I had done some work with people over the last 8 years when he was doing work for the music industry. So it kind of made sense that he'd be my first mint.
I was uh,
Um,
I was mentioning earlier this week on this show that my first mint was a pudgy penguin. So I think you have me beat.
oh heck yeah, pudgy penguins are pretty dope though. I wish I had been around for the pudgy penguins mint. That would have been fun. Cool. So as I said, I got in, started collecting art, mostly in like the edition form, as I wasn't like an ETH whale by any means. I think I started with like a $12,000 stack to start buying here and there in the NFT ecosystem, but I definitely didn't have like the hundreds of ETH that some people had when they kind of first started collecting NFTs. Fell in love, made a great community of friends and family within the ecosystem, and really I've just been building within the Web3 community and Monstercat since those days. I guess that was like 2 and a bit years ago now. Yeah, so we'll leave it at that for now. I can get into later in this conversation how this all kind of comes full circle to nouns, but I'm just happy to be here.
That's awesome. I know Davin was extremely excited to have you on. You've been speaking with him a little bit in DMs. Davin, you had a couple questions for Mike as well, I believe.
Okay, let me just get right into it because but we have quite a long time. Anyway, I just wanted to ask my first question. I even wrote them down just so you know. Um, I want to go to number two. What is relics.xyz? Because I think that would be a good place to start.
Yeah, so relics.xyz, or we just refer to it as relics, is a Web3 project that we built. We identified early on that as the metaverse was growing, as Web3 gaming was growing, there wasn't really much conversation about how music could be integrated. And I was worried that the metaverse was going to be quiet. I was worried that there wasn't going to be any official music licensed into any of these ecosystems. So to solve for that and to use what I had learned about decentralization and ownership of digital assets, we wanted to create a project that would flip how we know music ownership to exist or music licensing to exist. And I guess the context to that is right now, when you want to work with a video game or a metaverse, that metaverse approaches a record label. The record label licenses them some music, and then they allow that music to play within the game or in the metaverse. And you, as a user, don't get to choose that music. Or you might be able to flick through like a radio station at best. So we realized that if we really want to create an ecosystem where fans are going to be owning music NFTs and songs, that they should actually be able to bring those songs with them into these metaverse experiences and into these games. You should be able to create your own theme song and create your own experience within this ecosystem. So essentially, Relics is a project where you can buy and sell music NFTs. We've then done partnership deals with different metaverse ecosystems and games so that when you go into them, you bring that collection of songs with you. It's very early in the project still. Like we've done one season. We just did a small friends and family fundraise, a team of about 7 people. So it's like very, very, very early. I don't want to pretend like we're, changing the world yet. But the concept I think is strong. I think people want to be able to own music NFTs and then actually be able to do something with them beyond having them sit in your wallet.
To dig deep on that, I wanted to ask you, what's your take on sound.xyz? Like when you look at their model and how they're rolling out artists, what's your take on that? Because I think they're one of the industry leaders in this music NFT. What's your take on that?
Yeah, I love sound. The reason I like sound though is not because it's the music like listening platform. Like I don't use it as my replacement to like a Spotify. What I like it for is that it's creating this new form of relationship between musician and collector that has never really existed before in a really low cost manner. Like you can mint a sound.xyz music NFT from a musician for, $20. And almost every time I do that, I find a DM from that musician being like, "Man, it means a lot to me. You're interested in my music, and you've minted it, and here's an invite to my Discord." Like, it's just such like an organic community, and they're not trying to gouge people. It's like we're beyond that point of like people charging hundreds, if not thousands, of dollars for a mint. And I just think that it's a really cool experience. Now, I think long term they're going to have to move to an L2 if they really want to scale to hundreds of thousands of people collecting music NFTs. But for now, like the ecosystem is near perfect. Like I really do like it.
For those who aren't familiar with that platform, is it basically like a direct to consumer platform for musicians?
It's kind of like Nifty Gateway, but for musicians.
Okay.
So their
That's really cool.
editions, they're low cost. There's multiple artists who drop per day, and you just use it to discover, cool indie musicians, and then build a relationship with them, which I think is something that, as we've moved the music industry forward, the relationship between fan and musician has only gotten wider. Like the musician has no idea who their fans are. They don't receive any of the ticket sales data. They get very little social media data that allows them to really know who they're talking to. And most listeners, musicians become faceless. They become a Spotify playlist. They become a passive, like while I'm playing video games. Like there's this way to connect to fans and artists like has become more strained now than ever. So collecting music NFTs from them is actually one of those unique ways that we can bring fan and artist back together and actually have the fan incentivized for the artist to succeed, the musician to succeed.
That's really cool.
It's so nice that we're having this chat on semi NAS Jam sessions, because to be honest, NAS Jam sessions has always been a music show. But Ben is here. Ben, Darlington is here. Do you have any questions for him? Because I know you're deep into the music.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting one, hey, because I've been in the music industry for over a decade as well. And, it's really cool to see other people in the industry making moves like this with NFT technology and stuff like that. And obviously, as you'd be aware, the music industry is somewhat like the gaming industry in their pushback against crypto and NFTs. Which I find a shame. But I think at the moment we're at a turning point where they're starting to realize the power of that technology to, self-own their content. And they're all getting rinsed by Spotify for quite a while now, and it's starting to click. Oh, hold on a second. There's other solutions that these guys have been talking about. So obviously love the direction you're going and everything. But curious about how much of that kind of pushback you've already dealt with.
Oh wow, we had just insane, intense levels of pushback that would really negatively affected my staff, my team members, and our artists that we involved in the early days. Now, this was prior to the merge occurring, so it was prior to us moving ETH to proof of stake. And once we did, the kind of hatred definitely kind of toned down a bit. But at one point or another, I was getting like death threats in my Twitter DMs that I was supporting NFTs and that I was ruining Monstercat by like getting involved in NFTs. And I just didn't understand how people could be so, closed-minded and aggressive to a topic they really had no idea about.
I was just going to say, I don't think there's a single thing in my life that I feel that strongly about that I would need to slide into someone's DMs.
Right? Could you imagine? Like that's what you're gonna do on a Friday night. Like it's not gonna go and hang with your friends or love your family or play a video game. Let's slide into Darlington's DMs and tell him to off himself. Like,
I would have to be so bored.
That's specifically why I asked as well, because I've been subject to that. Work with big artists who also are subject to that, and like you said, it does affect the people working in the space. Like I've got a thick skin, and I love tech and I love crypto. So like I saw this coming years ago, and it was just a matter of like, how do we onboard these people? How do we get this point across? Like, we're trying to help you. Like, this is good for you, and it's going to take that power away from the corporations that are just using everybody's creative talent.
Sometimes I think you just have to change their mind, one at a time almost, like how Nouns Esports is doing, because Nouns Esports has a similar deck stacked against them with everybody in that industry feeling pretty anti-crypto. But, when they just kind of come in with the fun noggles and do cool things and sponsor people and be a positive force, it's hard for people to kind of argue against that when they see it, right?
Yeah,
well, that's actually why I changed my profile photo to a balloon. I'm like, listen, you're yelling at a balloon wearing goggles. Like, how ridiculous are you right now?
So good. I love it. I love the fact that you're, pushing in that direction as well. There needs to be more of us that advocate for this technology and musicians to save them from themselves at this point. Like, they're just shutting down, like you said, they're a bit closed-minded in taking on these new things. But, change is always hard. And I think like having advocates like yourself is like a really powerful thing for the industry. So props to you guys for that.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Well, they've amazing. I didn't know we'd had sound effects. Awesome.
Oh, we got soundboards.
Oh, we got a soundboard. Sick. Well, I think the attention now is the anger has now moved to AI art and AI music. So we'll let them. It can handle the backlash for now. Although AI music is absolutely coming. There's nothing that anybody can do about it. I've already seen some demos where I'm like, okay, this is getting to a point where it's like pretty close. It's scary.
Exactly. It's the interesting thing that we've actually been discussing for the last few years as well in the music side of this stuff, and how tech's evolving, and like how that interface works, like how humans will interface with the computers to essentially just make the process more efficient. Like, because a lot of the stuff that humans do is repeatable, and so like if your DAW starts to recognize all of the different things you do in certain circumstances, and it can actually start to replicate your moves, then like you've actually got an AI assistant that helps you put things together based on a few of the things you start doing. It'll be like, oh, do you want to go this way? You're like, done. And like you just wipe out whole days of production doing exactly what you would have done anyway. You know what I mean? It's pretty crazy.
It's a good point. Especially if the assistant is learning from you specifically. You're right. At that point, it's using your knowledge and your unique sound and techniques and further pushing those forward.
Exactly, and I think that's kind of where I landed as being the positive move forward in that space to explain to musicians, because it's it's such a threat to the ones that can't see that kind of aspect of it, that it'll actually increase their workflow and they can put out more music and make their job easier, but not easier in the sense that you like just click a button and then you get some stuff created for you where you've got no creative input. Like you kind of got to know, the best ones will still need to know what they're doing, you know what I mean? And it's still going to have each person's flavor and style.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Ben, I tried one of those AI music things and I made it worse somehow. I don't know.
It sounded like the mushroom notes that we were playing yesterday.
The more I used it, the worse it got. It was learning from me. Yeah.
Well, I think that's where it'll become clear that like there's still good producers that understand how to leverage the technology to their benefit, and it's just a different realm. But yeah, it's interesting that, and you're right. That's exactly where the focus has gone for now, which is kind of cool that human focus is so limited, because then you can continue innovate and grow in the areas that were previously getting a lot of boundaries put up, where now we can sort of spread further and just keep implementing cool technology for the music industry while everyone's focused on the AI side of things.
It reminds me of what Sam would say sometimes. Sam Ellis is one of our hosts here, and he's not here tonight, but he works in animation and has worked for Adult Swim and some other networks. And he said when CGI started to become popular, that was a big debate then. Oh, that's not real art. Oh, this is going to take all the art, all of the jobs away from artists. But in the end, what it did was, as Ben just said, just elevated all the good artists even higher and sort of brought the baseline up. So I'm sure something similar is going to happen with all of these AI.
Yeah, it's like augmentation instead of replacement is kind of the easiest way to explain it. That way it's less of a threat to people.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Mike, I'd be curious to hear about your Nounish journey a little bit, if you don't mind speaking on that. When did you first hear about nouns, and how did you take us through that process until the other day, last week, when you purchased that beautiful, handsome cat that I pinned above?
Yeah, I think over the years, I guess when did Nouns launch? It's been a year now, right? A year and a half?
Year and a half, yeah. August 8th, 2021.
Perfect. Yeah, I had always seen the type of people that I really respected, even in the music industry, people like RAC and Blockchain Brett with Palm Tree Crew, like rocking nouns and noggles, and then tons of different builders within the ecosystem. I noticed there seemed to be like this common thread of nouns, and that kind of got me interested. I'm like, so like those guys could be rocking a CryptoPunk, they could be rocking like a Trippy or Gold Bored Ape if they wanted to, but yet they chose that they wanted to be represented by the nouns community. So I thought that meant something, and that it meant that this is attracting really intelligent builders and people who really get Web3. So that kind of like made me want to start looking into it. At that point, I had no idea about the voting mechanism, the treasury, the sub DAOs, the Discord, the little nouns, all these little pieces I started to unravel. I just knew that cool builders like nouns. So dug in, and I've never had like a huge amount of ETH, like liquid. I've always, every time I seem to get a bit of liquidity, I always seem to buy more NFTs. So at that
I have
point,
that same problem, yeah.
Yeah. So at that point, nouns were like going for 50 to 100 ETH, and there was no world where I could get in. So for months and months and months, probably 6 months, I posted in the OTC, like trying to find a trade with somebody. I'm like, I have all these cool collections with doodles, apes, you name it, I've got them. Can we find a way to make a trade? And I just unfortunately never found a trade. So during that time, though, at least it gave me a little bit of a time to dig into things like the little nouns and learning about the little nouns community. And I'm like, okay, this is something that not only can I use the auction and mint, I can start to figure out the mechanisms of prop house and on-chain proposals. So I did that for months, speaking to like the little nouns community. So all that time, I was always like sitting there waiting to eventually like hope to find a way that I could enter into the community. And then fortunately, as I guess some people are frustrated that the auction price has gone down, and there's a subset of people who are stoked like me, who are like, okay, cool, it's reaching a point where like I can finally enter. And I was like, I have to wait for a cat, though. I have to wait for a cat. And I waited Go ahead.
Gammy said that yesterday on a space, I think, about how the low prices are great for proliferation. It's bringing in new people to the DAO, right? It's awesome.
Absolutely. If this was like 50 to 100 ETH, I probably couldn't have done it. So it worked for us. So anyways, I was waiting for cat, and then every day I'd come and check it, and there was no cat. And then finally one day, a couple weeks ago, probably, I don't know, maybe 2-3 weeks ago, cat popped up. And I was so stoked. You have no idea. I called up my team. Again, I personally didn't have the liquidity at that time, but with Monstercat, we had like a pretty sizable amount of ETH that we kind of set aside that unfortunately, as the price of ETH fell, it doesn't make sense for us to convert it into anything but ETH. We're just going to leave it as ETH. So I'm sitting there, I'm like, guys, this is it. This is the moment. Nouns is cool. I want us to be a part of this ecosystem. I want us to build around it. But I got to give credit to my team. Most of them were like, fuck it, let's try it. Let's do it. a couple people were like, well, like JPEGs. I'm like, no. This is a completely new way to look at community building, NFTs, decentralized ownership, CC0. Like, it's just different. You guys got to jump in. So I got the go ahead from everybody. They're like, cool, let's get in. Let's do some bids. That auction starts. I'm in Miami. I'm going between art galleries in Miami during Art Basel while I'm like frantically sending in bids with a colleague of mine. Actually, he was doing it from his computer at home, and I was distraught because at that point in time the auctions had been going for like 25 to 30, and we were already up to like 30, 32, and there was this wallet that had been created honestly right before the auction started.
Yeah.
And that wallet got funded from Binance. It had like never existed before, and it's funded with like 34 ETH. So I'm like, okay, 34 ETH is a lot, but like I really want to join the Nouns community. Let's do it. Throw in the auction, and this wallet keeps getting filled from Binance. Every time we would like push it up, it would get filled again, up to the point where it went to 38 ETH. And I'm like, at this point, I'm like, I don't think it's going to happen. This guy could, for all I know, could be sitting on $1 million ETH or $1 million in ETH, and he's just going to keep on doing it.
Could be CZ.
So
CZ.
it could be CZ himself. He's trying to get me. He's trying to get me. I'm telling you. Anyways, we ended up bowing out of the auction at like 38 ETH, and I felt terrible. I'm telling you, my evening in Art Basel was like ruined. Like I truly was upset about it.
Well, that's interesting. So for those who missed it, that was November 29th. Now in 527, it was a beautiful cat as well with red eyes and an axe accessory, and we were watching live. So sometime you might want to find the recording and listen back, because we saw you bidding, and we were sort of looking at it and trying to figure out who was bidding against you. We really wanted you. We were rooting for you to win, and then we thought maybe you didn't get a bid in time or something. But we were sad for you that you didn't.
Yeah, well, I just didn't know how long it would go. I need to my colleague is helping out. It's late at night. I'm at an event. Like it wasn't meant to be, and I just accepted it. So the fact that a week later was it that another cat got minted?
5 days later.
5 days later, I didn't think that was even possible because it had been like almost 100 days at some point between cats. And maybe this is you. Maybe this is you guys.
That's part of the show here where we play fomonouns, and because we saw that you were bidding on cats and that you wanted a cat for Monstercat, we're like, we got to get another cat as soon as the cat
you guys are the best.
Bang, bang, bang. Let's vote for that because we can vote for consensus while playing.
Okay, we're done with cats, though. Cats are done. We're moving on to mushrooms.
Mushrooms now, yeah.
All mushrooms. For the next month, it's just nothing but mushrooms.
Also, I should point out that almost every cat that has ever come up in FOMO has been minted. So the internet just loves cats. Also, we can't take full credit for that, but yeah, we were happy to mint it, and we were hopeful that you would get it. So, and I honestly, I mean, I don't want to say anything disrespectful to the anonymous Binance wallet, but yours is better.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I was scared on that one too. I don't know if you guys noticed, but like the 3 wallets that had bid before we jumped in, each had like 150 ETH and like tons of NFTs. I'm like, oh guys, we're fucked. Round 2, let's feel the pain again. Truly didn't expect the final bid price to go through. So if anyone is in the audience right now who like didn't bid against me, thank you. Really appreciate it. And I'm happy to be here.
That's pretty cool.
So I wanted to ask a question before, but before I wanted to segue to Gami a little bit. Gami, I wanted you to talk about your Spotify playlist. I mean, Darlington is here. He's a music record label boss. I am sure his playlist is very exquisite. Let's talk about your playlist, and are there any future plans of maybe Monstercat and Gnars working together? That's what I'm trying to do here. You know what I mean?
It's an interesting question, man. There's, I guess, when we're making a lot of like film content and people in our community are doing that, they're always seeking out music that they can edit their clips to. It's pretty common in skate culture, especially. And I guess like I've been doing a little bit of work with Noun Sounds, and like my sister-in-law's a musician that we've brought in to do some stuff there. She actually wrote a song called Skateboard Kid. And the interesting discussion has been around like CC0, right? And not expecting like musicians to like, make their music public domain and just let go of the reins. But it's been really interesting to hear that like certain stems or samples and stuff from songs can be released CC0, put to like a nice hip hop track or something like that, and then use it in these different pieces of content that we're putting out. So yeah, I'd be really keen to hear Darlington's take, like when it comes down to Monstercat and the sort of things that you're doing, like how do you personally think about licensing in music, and like has public domain and CC0 been something that gets discussed much like in your inner circles, and is it something that like musicians are mostly afraid of, or something that's an exciting opportunity to experiment with?
That's a great question. Monstercat's done a ton of licensing in the action sports world. We've worked with Red Bull for forever now. Working on their films or social content, you name it. So we have a long history of music licensing in paid licensing format, where the master rights and the publishing rights are licensed for that specific piece of synchronized content. However, I have been very curious about CC0, not because I have any sort of like business plan around it or idea around it, but purely out of trying to be open-minded, because it's generally not something that is a conversation in music. Music is always about protecting your rights and protecting your monetization. It's how we were kind of raised, especially because the major labels are so restrictive. So I don't want to shut my mind down to the possibility of CC0 in music. And I know that like Rack is working on some CC0, CC0 record label. But I know that there's something there. I know that it's important to put out content into the world with really no direct expectation. And I know it's going to work for some people. But one thing I wanted to kind of put out there though for discussion, because often on the CC0 side for art, I see a lot of fingers get pointed back to like Xcopy, for example, and I just don't think that that's really a fair use case or example. Xcopy was already one of the highest selling, most respected artists in our ecosystem. For him to go CC0, it was such a revolutionary move that it further propelled him, but it was only because he was already at that position. If we're going to a new up and coming, digital artist or musician and saying, you should go CC0 with your work today, I don't know if I can back that. I think that it's a very specific case, and artists should have their choice and their interests, and they should want to do it themselves. Nobody else should be putting that pressure on them, which unfortunately in the digital art world, I've seen a lot of people put pressure on artists to go CC0, and I've never thought that was right. So I guess long story short, I'm open-minded. I'm loving experimenting, and I think the nouns are an exact perfect example of what experimentation can look like. And I think that's the beauty of just Web3 ecosystem, is that projects can be tried. Like, this is a science experiment at the end of the day. Science experiment with $38 million in the treasury.
It's a great answer too. I just have like a follow up to that, if you don't mind too. We're part of like a culture, whether it's skateboarding, hip hop, or crypto. Everything's everything is a remix essentially. There's a lot of sampling. There's a lot of shouting things out subtly through memes and stuff like that. Like Xcopy and even Gremplin, who's in the audience, like really excel at this like subtle hint to the culture in ways that only people in the culture understand. And a friend of mine, Lil Bubble, who does parody and a lot of original music as well, he's actually like hit his biggest stride recently by taking what's the classic meme at the moment, like Richard Hart was saying how he's wearing all this Prada stuff, and Lil Bubble kind of takes the piss and makes a remix track. And I guess in terms of music, that's what really excites me, is this idea of permissionless collaboration that CC0 offers. So if I was a musician, I could see an opportunity there where I might release like some sample that speaks to a particular culture, and then try to encourage some people to maybe sample that and make it CC0 and try to make it like a viral meme. And I think the way that I see CC0 is less of like a boring licensing discussion and more of like a platform to do something greater. I've actually got a phone call coming, so I'm going to mute now. But if you had any comments on that, I'd love to hear.
Is that Bob Burnquist again? Kanye King Kong.
It's auto electrician fixed a van, it broke down.
No.
So.
Not as exciting.
Yeah, real talk though, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater like affected my music tastes growing up 100%. The songs I would not have discovered, and artists I wouldn't have discovered if it wasn't for that game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's a common experience. That's like
for sure.
that was like a real watershed moment for a lot of shit, I think.
Yeah,
I mean, that's basically nostalgia, right? It's nostalgia is all these different elements baked together into your memories.
Yeah, exactly. And to Gami's point with like the ability to use CC0 as a platform like that, I think that's something that's like that's why I'm part of the crossover crowd of being in the music industry and the crypto space and NFT space as well. And specifically Nouns because of CC0 aspect and open source software development and stuff like that. And it's a lot of the releases that we've done in the music industry and like through with Ableton tutorials and everything, it's all kind of like do what you want. Like here's a bunch of sample packs, use them however you want, and that's like kind of down those lines. They weren't specifically licensed in that way. It was kind of just do what you want and like don't be a dick. Like don't try and claim that you made the packs or something like that, but just like use them however you want to do whatever you want. And it was kind of a model that was pushing the boundaries pretty early on. Like, we've been doing that since 2010, just giving away the music for free streaming, giving away the sample packs, giving away Ableton tutorials. And, obviously we've created a subscription model with more in-depth tutorials and some bigger packs and things like that. But like there's a whole layer of publicly and freely available stuff that allows people to just create remixes, and we kind of like encourage people to put their things together by doing remix contests. Like here's a sample pack, make whatever you want with this pack, and let's run a contest based on that. And that kind of platform is quite powerful, I think.
I actually, what's up, everybody? I actually worked with my boy Walter on pretty much everything that we have collection, like in our collection from 2016 until 2020. Yeah, till 2020, like right after everything got shut down. I just reposted something in the Gnars, in the Nouns Discord. Just put it on the main page and everything. It's a Christmas sample pack. Anybody can listen to. We got 8 tracks on it. There's a bunch of samples with samples. So like movie samples over old sampled music. Yeah, it's crazy. You guys will like it.
Very cool. Thanks, Tolo. Darlington, I have one more question for you because I know you've got to get going here shortly. I'm just curious to ask, what's next for Monstercat with Nouns? So you've purchased this Noun. You said most of your staff were on board. What do you see as sort of the next step? How does Nouns play into the evolution of Monstercat, if at all?
Yeah, I'd say for now it's just experimentation. It's getting involved. It's voting. It's learning about all the subcultures and sub-DAOs within it. I don't think we have a plan yet. I know we don't have a plan yet, to be honest with you. We're just learning, and I think that's okay. And hopefully I can contribute.
In some ways, that's almost a more fun answer. It's like you just knew, like you said earlier, the meme of Nouns. What would you say earlier? Cool builders buy Nouns or something like that.
Yeah, dope builders buy Nouns. Dope builders it seems like it attracts the type of people I want to be around.
When you said that earlier, I was thinking, there was the new video that was released that I saw you retweeted, the explainer for Nouns, and the tagline that they used was Nouns Funds Ideas, which is pretty succinct, but I think yours is pretty darn good as well. Dope builders buy Nouns. I like that.
Hey, both of them work.
I love that.
Why not both? Why not both?
Yeah, so guys, I think you're just going to see me floating around and asking questions. I'm still learning that for sure.
Floating around. I see what you did there.
No, that was by accident. I'm so sorry. Yeah, no, but listen, there's something really special here. I've been in NFTs for 2 and a bit years. I can't think of anywhere where I would like compare it and say like this is like this. Everything that I find that's anywhere similar, I'm like, this is like nouns, but like a lot less dope version of nouns. So yeah, I'm just having fun learning.
You probably got kicked out of a lot of discords if you kept popping in saying this is just like nouns, only less dope.
I dare them to kick me out.
Well, thank you so much for your time. It was really nice to get to know you a little bit, and you're welcome back on 9 o'clock live any time that you'd like to come on and talk about what you're working on or something that's coming up. We'd love to hear about it. We didn't really have time today to dig into the idea that you put forth. This guy bought a noun, and within 2 days, I think, already had a prop house prop in the builder ideas. Do you want to give a quick synopsis of that, just so maybe we can come back to it another time?
No, because I took it down.
Did you really?
Yeah, I took it down. So this is
Why?
this is me being a noob. This is me learning still. I didn't
Okay.
realize that prop house was specifically for proposals to build prop house. I missed that part. So I realized that, and I'm like, okay, cool. This is a cool idea. We're gonna put it aside. We're gonna come back to it in a bit. But yeah, that's just an example of like me experimenting. I'm gonna write proposals. I'm gonna vote on things. I'm gonna like ask questions, and that's I think the best way to figure out like how this ecosystem works. Like you can't just sit on the sideline and expect that all the answers are gonna just magically come to you. You got to get involved.
Can we do a public experiment now and you still tell us the idea?
Yeah, it's a pretty good idea.
Okay. I'll bring it back eventually, but I love that the proposal around the regatta, like all the noun sales around NFT NYC, and I think it's just a really cool way to for the everyday person who's walking the streets and seeing these boats out in the water. I think it's a really cool concept, and it reminded me of this thing that happened in Toronto where I grew up many years ago. That was like it took over social media because every person and their mother went down to the lake to take a photo of this giant rubber duck. And this giant blow up rubber duck is the size of it's like a 12-story building, massive. This thing is insane. You see it beside boats, and the boats look like little ants. So I remembered that so vividly and how powerful that was from a social media perspective. And I actually did some digging into it, and it turns out that rubber duck is privately owned, and they're willing to bring it to other places and do campaigns. So I reached out, figured out the contact information, and the proposal was that we create a giant noggles, inflatable noggles that we would attach to this rubber duck and have the rubber duck floating around during NFT NYC. So the hope was that we end up in millions of people's Instagrams.
Oh my God,
maybe a vinyl sticker on the butt of the rubber duck that says nouns.wtf.
Let's go. We
need
tried
this
to do
so
that
bad.
with Randy's donut, and it didn't end up working out. So this is even better way to do this. Let's go.
Agreed.
I love it.
I looked into it. To bring it to Toronto was $200,000 total, and that's in Canadian pesos. So if we can do it in Canadian dollars for $200K.
And it had such a good impact.
How many nomos do we have to send them to make this happen?
It had such a good impact that we still celebrate Rubber Ducky Day to this day in Canada.
This is a thing? Okay.
Let's do it. This sounds super fun. Like this is exactly the type of stuff that we should be doing.
That sounds very nounish.
Why not?
One good thing about Prop House rounds is that there's always another one right around the corner. So
yeah, we'll bring it back for a general Prop House round that's more about any nounish type idea, not one specifically to build the Prop House tool.
I think this one would be good for Duke value as well.
Definitely.
Wow. Why don't you go straight on chain? I mean,
Gammy straight to jail.
Get an extra noun and you go straight to chain and bring that rubber ducky to New York, NYC NFT 2023. I think that would be a good time.
I actually almost don't want to put anything on chain for quite some time, and my reason behind that is I feel like it's kind of whack if you suddenly buy 2 nouns and then the day after you're requesting ETH for a project.
Unless I almost feel like a really good idea. If you have something that we should be doing, you should just do it.
Yeah, I guess. But everybody that thinks their idea is the greatest idea.
I don't know, dude. You're pretty smart.
Thank you.
Cool. I like the measured approach. Take a little time, figure things out. Yeah, I like that.
Just don't let the apes beat us to the duck thing. Okay, that's all we're asking.
Right.
If we see a giant ape looking duck in the in the New York Harbor before that Noggle duck. Oh, that'll be sad.
That's actually a really good point. I didn't really think about the fact that other projects can steal these type of ideas, so we got to move quick. That's a good point.
Zero.
I just pinned a picture of an ape-looking guy wearing ducks.
Oh, no.
The second pinned tweet now.
Oh no, it's starting.
Well, I didn't know that there was
Oh,
a duck
my
noun
days.
when I first put that forward. That only came out afterwards, so I definitely
if
think
you
we have
tell
something.
Brennan
I
about
I
this
see you
idea,
haven't
he's
met
gonna lose
you
his
haven't met
mind. He's
Brennan
gonna
yet.
love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody link me to this guy. I want to see Mr. Duck Noun.
Yeah,
Dude.
he
Well, he
loves
buys
ducks.
the other ducks, the rubber ducks.
He's
That's
a
right.
quacktacular time.
Is there
I
anybody
think we
who
have
like?
11.
Is there anybody who like
No, go ahead,
exclusively
go ahead.
owns a head type? Like they have all of a certain head that's ever been minted?
I don't think so.
I think so. Or
Well, but I mean,
I
some
think there
of the
was,
individual
but I think
heads.
maybe wasn't there the king one?
There was a
Crown
guy
one.
who owned most of the kings, but then there was a crown that he didn't get because we kept just minting crowns over and over again. He was like, "Please stop! I'm running out of ETH."
How many pills are there?
Maybe lounge or like couch. Maybe the snowman.
Well, yeah, there's lots that there's only one instance of, but
Yeah.
I think he's more talking about.
we own
Yeah.
all the boxes. That's right, we do.
That's right.
There's
Yeah,
only one.
Ugly DAO owns every box that's ever been minted.
True.
All one of them.
Can you explain the concept behind Ugly Dad?
Yeah, so me
Right.
and a couple other builders wanted to buy nouns, but we weren't rich enough, so we decided to get together and buy them together and support each other.
And we thought that the ugly nouns would be cheaper.
Oh yeah, and the ugly noun is just kind of a meme. We were like, hey, what if we just FOMO some ugly nouns so we can get them on the cheap? And then the ugly nouns.
And now auctions
meme
are
was more.
going down, and everyone's complaining about the book value and looking about becoming
Yeah.
the took value guys. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But look how ugly this box
Talk
shark is
value.
compared to the real shark.
It's a pretty nice box shark.
I love
gotta say.
Boxy Shark. He's so fabulous.
Yeah,
Very
that's one of the best innovations I think in the pixel art to date, in my opinion. The box is turned into different heads where it encapsulates like multiple heads in one box. I
You're
love
too
that.
kind, Ben. You're too kind.
No, serious, it's really good.
Cody Hawk
We should
has
do a whole
lot
collection of them,
qualities.
We really should, yeah.
You've been boxed.
It's
I don't
like
know
a
if that.
better-
I wasn't trying to be glib there, Mike, but does that explain what that's about enough? Or
Yeah, no. The point that you're like specifically bidding on the ugliest nouns is awesome.
well, the thing is, we got two nouns, and they definitely like have an ugly it factor. We have a box and a trash can, but they're also not like ungodly ugly. So there's kind of like a middle ground.
It's
we
more
don't
like
want
you
to
wear the box if you're ugly, or you just throw it in the bin.
exactly, or like you're Oscar the Grouch. You don't want to come out because you're too ugly.
I thought that that stapler that went recently, the lowest all-time low bid auction, I didn't even think that one was that ugly. I was quite surprised. I thought it was
I didn't think that
aesthetic.
was ugly at all. I don't know why.
No, that's right.
Also, I don't know
I agree.
why. I mean, whoever bought it. Oh, that was Little Nouns. Little Nouns should now. So let me collect my thoughts here. Originally, I heard that someone was going to try to onboard Mike Judge to the DAO if we did a red stapler, but we did a red stapler and that didn't happen. And now we did another
Mike
one.
Judge got outbid though.
Oh, okay. So, well, whatever. I mean, it was going to happen at one point. He was interested, and so I think now, Little Nouns, that mantle falls to you. You guys got to figure out a way to either delegate or sell this noun to Mike Judge and get him into the Nouniverse.
100%. Hit up Emmy and delegate it to Mike Judge. That's so smart. I love it.
Yeah. Got to do it. All right. Well,
And if you refresh the space, you'll see I now have my flamingo box as my profile pic, courtesy of Toady Hawk.
Toady Hawk, what a guy. All right. So I like how yours has double noggles, though. That's my favorite thing about that.
Really special, and I appreciated it very much.
Coming back to the auction here just for a quick second, checking in. We got 7 minutes and 55 seconds left on the auction. And currently the bid is at $31.55. So Mike was right. It wasn't done being bid on at 25. And we've got a couple interested parties here after POAP's bid. So who knows? This one might go a little higher. We'll have to see how it goes. But I just wanted to take a pause to thank you, Mike, for coming on, to introduce yourself to the DAO and to us. And again, you're welcome back here anytime. We are going to kind of transition over to the NounsDAO side of the show. And of course, you're super welcome to stick around and chill, but we also understand if you got to take off. Float off.
Appreciate you having me. I'm actually gonna jump into the audience because I want to see this the bidding, or what's the word for it? Like when you pick the next one, I want to get involved in the party.
FOMO.
Okay,
Dude, just
cool.
hang out
FOMO
then.
and
What,
NOMO.
you're welcome to just hang out.
We
Yeah.
don't
Hang
need the
out on
space
the
on stage.
stage
So.
until we do
It,
that.
it does
Yeah.
become a lot
You
very
We won't-
play
quickly.
with us.
But I do want you to have that experience of the first public FOMO because it gets pretty chaotic. So, so why
But
don't we
Darlington,
dive
before Darlington goes, I wanted to ask him one final selfish question. You know, NounsDAO Africa minting. We are Noun, I think 12. My final question to you is: when Monstercat office in Africa?
What part of Africa are you in?
Okay, okay, I know we don't know, but thank you so much. And yeah, the NAS Jam sessions is coming
Davin,
up.
I think maybe you got rugged there for a second, Davin. He asked you where in Africa you were from.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm from Uganda, But as you know, music is one of the drugs that runs Africa. I mean, Noun Sounds is, I'm sure Woody is one of the first people that did it on Nouns Africa Noun, and he's excited to do something with Noun Sounds in Africa, do a little competition, and yeah, maybe we could do something. But yeah, I'm from Uganda, and you know, we could get this thing going. Some Afro beats, I'm a piano. We got a new space coming up, so that should be interesting. The World Cup finals. I want to play my piano to begin this in. But speaking of music, you know that we're in the NAS Jam sessions. We are in the NAS Jam sessions, but we're about to play some formal in a few minutes and some normal. Maybe I wanted to ask Nounish Prof, what is normal?
You're asking me what's NOMO or what's FOMO?
Let's start with FOMO, actually, just so we don't get people confused. Yeah, FOMO and then NOMO.
Yeah.
What are we
So
getting
we'll go
into
to
here?
FOMO first. So FOMO is the opportunity to select a fabulous new noun after the auction ends. We go to fomonouns.wtf and do an upvote, downvote on the ones we like or the ones we're trying to mint for some reason.
Prof, you sound like the person who reads the cards at The Price is Right, like for the final
I'm trying
showcase.
to do that. This is my this is my talk
Doing
show
well.
game show host voice. Thank you very much. And yeah, after FOMO, we play NOMO, where we get to save one little FOMO noun who did not make it through. I think that's it.
Yeah, no, and then we have NOMO, where you and a guest will fly for this fly.
Our showcase showdown. That's essentially what happens. Actually, it comes down to two NOMO nouns. It's a showcase showdown.
That's right. All right, so before we do some FOMO and some NOMO fun, we have 4 minutes and 18 seconds, barring no other last minute bids coming in here. Sorry, on the auction at 31.55. So Gami, why don't you take a stab at telling us what's going on in Gnars right now? It's a pretty momentous occasion for Gnars right now. In 4 minutes or less, what's going on at Gnars? Well,
thanks.
We'll get into it again after FOMO as well.
But 4 minutes is too much. I don't know if I can handle it. Yeah, so Gnars, as some of you will know, we've been doing a lot of IRL activations. We learned a lot from our experience in Brazil, and we're really keen to scale out what we've been doing and do 12 activations in 12 countries over the next 6 to 12 months. And my proposal 189 that I submitted, it's looking to like it's going to be a contentious one, and it seems like it sparked a few debates, and that was intentional because if we fail, we can just come back again. And essentially, the proposal is called Extremely Nounish. It's been a focus of ours for the recent weeks, and voting starts in about 10 minutes as far as I can see. And
it'll be live on the air.
Yeah, live on the air.
Can you say, on the last spaces you were on, you talked about how you're not overly concerned about the prop failing if it should fail, and you related that to skateboard culture. I thought that was really powerful. Can you reiterate that for people who weren't there?
Yeah, man. It's cool that you bring that up too, because like just before, I was really fortunate to finally meet Bob Burnquist over a video call with him and Vlad, and we got talking about like the culture of Gnars and the culture of nouns, and how we've got this proposal, and if we fail, I explained to him as well. I said, just like skateboarding, you throw yourself down the stairs, and if you stick the landing, that's awesome. But if you don't, you just like get back up, you dust yourself off, you climb the stairs, and you try again. And it's very much part of the culture of nouns in general. I have to excuse myself for a moment because there's a guy coming to fix it's actually my girlfriend's car, and I need to take this phone call, so I'm really sorry.
Is that a euphemism, like going to see a guy about a horse?
It's not, but I'm sure Ben or someone can take my place just for a minute. I'll be back soon.
Sorry. I think what he's trying to say is we're just going to keep resubmitting this prop until it passes.
Civil attack proposal. Interesting.
Yeah. No, but we talked about this, and and that's kind of how the iteration works. You try this, try that, move your foot a little bit. It's the same kind of aspect, like you said, and I think that's cool. And to not be discouraged, when you submit a prop that gets pushed back, it's pretty clear that the pushback at the moment is not necessarily warranted, in my opinion. There could be some stats and figures in there based on past performance to help people so they don't have to dig, especially new nowners. But yeah, ultimately the rest of the pushback is kind of just a blanket pushback about treasury spending in general, based on the social layers consensus at the moment. And that's interesting that this is a turning point at the moment, because there's been months of discussion around creating pods, and sub-DAOs is such a good model for that. But yeah, 30 seconds left on the auction. Let's go.
30 seconds left on the auction. If you're on NowO'Clock.app, you'll see there's no pending bids coming in. It looks like 0x A33 is going to get this with only 0.44 ETH left in their wallet to spare. So just by the hair of their chinny chin chin, they're going to take down Noun 544. Let's go to fomonouns.wtf. Congratulations to the new Noun owner.
Congratulations.
Air horns for the new Noun owner. Let's go. We got a piano noun on fomonouns.wtf. If you're playing for the first time, it's very easy. Just up or down vote, depending on if you like it or not. That is
that's a nice crab.
Colorful crab.
Are we looking for anything? We're still looking for a basketball, but other than that,
I think Darlington said he wants only cats to be minted. That's what I heard.
cats?
We want a wizard. We're trying to get a wizard.
That seems like a lot.
Yeah, we need another wizard. Yeah.
Oh, okay, NounsDAO wants a wizard, so we'll take that under advisement.
Yeah.
Oh, that's please don't saw cardinals in half. It's not a.
No,
it's not a
cardinals
very
are
Nounish thing to
pretty.
do.
That's mean. Yeah. Don't
That's
leave the cardinals
ugly.
alone.
Oh, I love
Ooh,
pie.
that's a nice
I do
pie.
love pie.
I'm definitely
it's
going
not
up
I
on
do
March.
love pie.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
not
Sam would
March.
love. Sam would really love this this noun.
It's a pretty
He loves
pie.
pie.
I like it. I'll eat it.
Oh, another pie.
Another pie?
That's his
Somebody
evil
really
brother.
wants to
His
take
evil
us this
brother.
pie
That was really
today.
cool.
GM everyone, by the way.
That was I love pie.
That was like
and poison
that
pie.
was like
Some good nouns.
the pie's mad.
That's an emo
It's
pie.
like
That's thoughtful.
This is like what you're thinking about.
Panda,
I don't know, panda.
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 RFG made it
Just
just
thinking
in
about
time
Panda.
for FOMO. Nice one.
Yeah,
What you thinking about? Oh, washing machine.
about 2
I
minutes
really
to
like
spare.
washing machine head, but that's
Washing the
kind of a-
dog. Washing the dog.
Yo.
You wash the dog in the washing machine? What?
The Beavis and Butthead joke.
Deep
Don't
cut. That's a
say
deep
it.
cut.
It
Oh,
is
this would have
a
been perfect.
oyster.
Who did we have up recently who was an oyster shucker? who was
Oh
that?
yeah, I was too. That was yesterday, Simon.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I
Simon,
was
yeah.
also. Yeah,
Am I that
also
old?
shucked
I don't
oysters.
remember yesterday.
Yeah,
We
it was
could have
it
done
was
that
yesterday.
oyster for him.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, you know, I'm a new dad.
Could have.
Days have just
Banana
flowed
fries.
together.
Oh shucks, we missed it.
We
Shucks,
made that joke. We
Oh.
made that joke
the
yesterday.
oyster.
Yeah, it's bad
And
then too.
I think we have
you
to.
remember?
Well, that's a cheap rabbit.
Kangaroo.
Oh, I mean, Gami's here. Let's get this rabbit.
That's not a
It's
rabbit.
not a rabbit. It's a kangaroo.
That's what Otoshi calls it.
Kangaroo.
Please don't do
It's a
that to
kangaroo.
me.
Should have called it
It's a really big
Actually,
rabbit.
a really nice camera. That's a nice camera.
This is like for
really?
Nounish.
Rabbit.
Yeah, this would be a really
Very
wonderful.
Oh, we got it.
Yeah, I like
got
it.
We got the
I'm
camera.
surprised.
So
You know what?
All right, we
Where
got
is it?
the
Great.
All
camcorder.
right, it's time for Nomo.
That would be great
Whoa,
for
that black
Stupid
hole that
Buddy.
never came up good.
Okay, everybody, pay attention. Pay attention. We got to go to
Nomo.
Nomo. Nomo.wtf. Here's the drill. All of the nouns that we just missed, they are Nomo, but we have a chance to rescue them. So if there's a noun that you really liked, maybe it was I love pie or I love
Like,
pie's
how
equal
about the
brother.
kangaroo?
Yeah,
Look
or
at that
Rabbit
black
the
hole
kangaroo.
near the top.
Yeah,
If you go to
Rabbit the kangaroo.
Nomo.wtf, Nomo.wtf, choose your character. And we have a chance
I'm
to
going
try.
for. I think.
And how do you
Rabbit the
rescue
kangaroo.
them? Robot Fistro, how do you rescue?
You just click them as often as you can, and if you manage to get through all of the elimination rounds, then eventually you can mint them. Starts at 0.0069 ETH for the first 15 minutes, and then every 15 minutes it slowly increases in price until we do it again tomorrow.
Okay,
I'm going for this Game
And
Boy.
obviously,
I think we should do
everybody's
the two
getting a
pies.
stone pie,
Let's have a
right?
pie battle.
I'm going for the
Definitely
Game
gonna
Boy,
get a
but if
pie.
the pie keeps going, then I'll be happy with the pie.
Have you ever got
Saving
stoned and
this
then ate an
pie.
entire pie by
There's
yourself?
somebody.
Yes.
Rabbit
You
kangaroo.
can see that the
I'm gonna
kangaroo,
get this black
the
hole. It's
kangaroo.
too
I
good.
mean,
I'm
you
going
I'm
want the
going for the
Nav Jam
pie,
session?
actually. I like the
The
evil
silver
You want
pie
pie.
the
or the
Nav Jam
lovely
session
grandma pie?
The
today?
black hole looks like a
So
black hole lollipop.
the kangaroo is
There
something
is a
that
nice
I think
basketball,
if we're
but
meeting
no.
today could
Rabbit
be
Two
kangaroo.
quite
little pies in the building.
monumental.
Pie me
So
down.
Kangaroo. Kangaroo.
yes, I'm
Kangaroo.
coming over now to just
Pie, pie,
mint
pie, 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 pie,
the
pie.
kangaroo.
Kangaroo.
It is a kangaroo.
Oh,
I
my
do feel
Come
like
wrist.
on.
on the
We
Nav
like the
session
stone pie.
we should get the kangaroo because the
Come
kangaroo is quite.
Damn it.
Ah,
Ah.
stone
Oh,
All
pie.
right.
in a good one.
Choose your
This is called the
fighter.
pie hole. The pie
Round
hole
So that would
two.
be the
kangaroo.
pie.
Fight!
Pie hole.
Everybody likes a
Pie, put it in the
pie,
pie
Pie,
so
hole.
hands
we just want to
down.
eat some
I mean,
pie.
there's other food nouns folks on here,
Oh, we
so
got
we do
this.
know that the pie is gonna win. I mean, anything food nouns, you cannot compare.
Oh
Oh,
no!
Evil
pie.
pie, let's go.
That's my
Yum.
question.
I really wanted
When
that
food
black
nouns
hole.
drop
That
in
is
chain?
a
When food
wrap.
nouns drop in chain?
My, oh my, that is a beautiful pie. So our Nomo of the day, Nomo 545, is a red background pie with red eyes to match. If you'd like, you can mint as many as you'd like here to remember that you were here. Keep them in your wallet as a collectible from the day that you were here to listen to Darlington and Gnars talk about what they're up to. Also, there's some gamification stuff, as we've mentioned, coming down the line. You'll be able to use Nomos to mint special editions from Nounish artists. To vote potentially on some contests here at the Noun Square and some other things that we got coming down the line. So it's a good idea to
Not
mint some
potentially.
nomos.
You
Not
can
potentially.
vote with them right now, dude.
You can vote with them right now, Joshua.
Well, in like
What?
an hour,
True.
this contest, as soon as this first contest closes, and then on I think Saturday is when the contest that got launched today closes. So we'll be voting.
All right.
In
So
session.
if you own a Nomo, then you are now a governor here on the Noun Square. So congratulations. And just on its base layer, Nomo is sort of our first step towards some very simple gamification and some crypto native ways of becoming more self-sufficient and not reliant on the DAO to do what we do here every single day, which is a Twitter Spaces at 9 o'clock every single day for 182 days now, I think, today, and 40 odd spaces a week for the Nounish community. So if you love what we're doing and you like hanging out with us, this is a way that you can say thank you and give back in a crypto native way. So that's all I'm going to say about Nomos. We'll pass the floor
So
back.
can I have
Actually,
a question?
sorry.
I have a question really
Go.
quick to Darlington. Did you play Nomo and what did you think? And did you play FOMO and did you play Nomo and what did you think?
I played both. FOMO was sick. That was awesome. I was actually kind of concerned that we would never come to consensus and like nothing would ever get minted.
Yeah, that's happened.
We've done that.
It's actually a metaphor for the DAO sometimes. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, good point. So I was very curious about that, and it's cool to see that it's already up and running for an auction, and POAP.eth has already bid on it. So this one's super sick. And then in regards to Nomo, I have carpal tunnel now in my wrist. I was clicking way too fast. I was actually going for the crab. That was my number one pick. I don't know. People here might not know, but Monstercat's actually really famous for a crab meme. It's got like actual billions of views on if you type in crab rave, it's a
Wait, that was
massive meme.
Monstercat?
Yeah,
Why
crab
didn't you
rave is
tell us
Monstercat.
that?
Oh
If you
my
would've said
God.
that, we would have
Yeah,
gone for
Darlington,
the crab.
part of the game is the social aspect. You got to campaign for your Nomo.
I literally, we played that on this show. Last time we had a party crab noun that won.
Yeah, we did.
Because I insisted, because I have that as my ringtone.
No way. Yeah, it's become a global phenomenon meme.
We love a good
And
crab
it came
bunker.
out actually as a April Fool's Day joke. So it's an April Fool's Day joke that has gone on for way too long. But yeah, so if ever there
That
will
is
be a
so
good
cool.
crab, that might be Monstercat's second noun might be a crab. So we'll have to see.
Well, I know you said it's gone on way too long, but you've just warned a community that managed to make a stamps.com joke run for about 2 months straight. So I think
Oh, it was longer than that.
there's a lot of crabs coming. Yeah, I mean, it's still going.
He's
It's just not
referring,
quite every day
Darlington, to the
anymore.
time we decided that Stamps.com was going to be our sponsor, whether they liked it or not, and proceeded to sponsor ourselves by Stamps.com for quite a long time. We never did get a cease
We
and
may or
desist.
may not have run commercials. We may or may not have done.
That's amazing.
We ran copy, yeah.
Yeah, we were hoping to be the first people to ever civil attack themselves into a sponsorship, but unfortunately, our first attempt was not successful. Maybe in future. Yeah, we're coming for the next podcast advertising platform, whatever that'll be. What are they doing now on podcasts? What are they advertising? What's the new one?
Thinking.
I don't know.
Athletic grades.
Stamps.
Oh,
There is one.
no,
There's a-
what's
there's
the
a
one?
podcast.
There's always Bombas is always pretty popular. Maybe
Oh,
Bombas
yeah,
will
that's a
be
good one.
sponsored by Socks. That'll be perfect. We're sponsored by Socks. Our nouns don't have feet. Perfect.
This episode is sponsored by Raid Shadow Legend.
I like it. I like this guy. We should bring him back.
All right,
Let's
guys.
do it.
This
All
guy.
right. Well, I gotta run. But this was so much fun. Nomo, FOMO, all great, cool tools. Again, it's these type of things you'd only discover if you actually spent time in the community and actually, got involved. So I appreciate the builders here who've created it, further in the Nouns ecosystem, and I just hope I can some way contribute positively to everything you guys are doing. My Twitter is here. If you ever need me, hit me up on DMs. We'll chat. And enjoy the rest of your night, guys, or morning, wherever you are. Talk to you soon.
I love it. Thanks so much,
Thanks for
Mike.
coming on, man.
Thank you.
Have a good-
Appreciate
That
you.
was awesome.
Bye. We like you a lot. Come back.
We like you a lot. Prof, we're
Well,
just
we do like
fangirling on the stage here. No
I
shame.
am. I really like him.
All right,
yeah,
Ben.
we like the cats, right? We do like the cats. So there you go.
The internet likes
Also,
cats.
crab rave.
Yeah, I had no idea that was them. That's pretty cool. We're learning together. All right, Ben Body, Mr. Gami is still fixing a pipe in his car or whatever his euphemism was. So you're going to have to continue to talk about this prop just a little bit more and what else is going on in ours.
Of course, yeah. Well, Prop 189, it looks like it's about to go live for voting. Let's just have a quick look. Before we get into that, actually, I want to just highlight 185, which was for distributing Nouns Vision noggles for proliferation purposes, which included Gnars and included the Noun Square. So both communities now combined on this space is kind of quite fitting. Also esports, obviously. I'm not trying to leave them out on purpose, but having a combined space of two of the three communities that have got an allocation, congrats on behalf of all the communities that I'm part of as well. Thank you. It's crazy. Like, this is been an awesome proposal to be a part of. We did some cool stuff with custom contracts, and I just love doing fun things like that.
Just for the record, Ben, I played the air horn for you quite a few times there while on mute. So if you could just imagine how cool that was.
Imagine what it'd be like.
We'll be making one nouner look cooler. One noun community member look cooler every day.
Forever.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
I think
well, not forever till the allocation is through.
Yeah,
I feel like
we got a few months.
I feel like this is one of the most nounish proposals, Ben, just because it was so. It started with an idea in the Discord. It brought several nounish communities together with sort of one goal of just like taking these noggles that are sitting in the treasury and do nothing, and actually trying to proliferate with them and give them out to as prizes to people and use them for esports to get visibility. And on top of that, you had to go to Nounder 9999. Punk 9999, thank you very much for helping with the custom contract that Ben ended up using in the prop, which basically calls on the NFTs that are in the treasury and allows us to redeem them as needed. So that was really cool to be able to work with the Nounder and get that all sorted out. And sort of theoretically now, if someone else wanted to do a similar prop, that work is done for them.
Yeah, exactly. That's part that I was like most excited by. Like, I love getting the Nouns Vision noggles out and the prop value prop right there anyway, but just the tech behind it that we were going to have to use and putting together a transaction. I'm like, well, we're going to have to send 150 separate NFTs. So like, we can't just do like 150 transactions. I need to do them in bulk. And then started like importing bulk transfer contracts and trying to set up the transaction like that. And the syntax just wouldn't work in any way possible. And that just questioning that and showing a few of the engineers in space and the devs around, they were like, it was crazy to think like, I just thought I was doing something wrong, and I'm like, what am I doing wrong? How do I get this right? And asked a few of the big brains, and then they're all like, oh yeah, this actually doesn't really make sense. Like, why isn't this working? And then Nine just comes through with a custom contract like a day later, going like, this could work. It's unaudited, so just wait or whatever. And we, obviously gave it time to look it over, but yeah, crazy.
Also,
now,
some
so
context on that is that you didn't really even ask him to make a custom contract or anything. It was just like, Can you look over what we've done? And then like one sleepless night later, he's back and he's like, I made this. Just sent you the GitHub. It was pretty cool.
Exactly. It was like a Christmas came early situation, because now what the first transaction there is actually approving that contract. So now that contract's callable to allow any other wallets to transfer NFTs out of the Nouns treasury by adding an allowance, and you can do that by one or by multiples. It's super interesting contract to play with. We only used the add allowance in bulk kind of thing, that function, but there's other functions, and it's it's going that's why I linked it, so you can have a look at the contract and make up some cool things going forward, because there's other communities that are depositing NFTs to the treasury as well, and this would have come up at some point, I'm sure, to need to bulk transfer NFTs somewhere. So
yeah, very cool. Now I can't wait to get a chance to give out some of these awesome sunglasses. So we'll see.
Yeah, Josh got your hand up.
Yeah, I just really want to do like a scavenger hunt. And I know that like if anyone could do a scavenger hunt to the next level, it's the fucking Gnars boys.
Yeah, exactly. I think
please never say that like that ever again.
No, this is good. This is the culture that we're dipping at.
You have to try different things until you find the most comfortable. They don't always work perfectly the first or second time.
Fair enough. Another person who could help with that would be JP and the guys from Nouns in Rio. They already did one in Rio. And super popular.
Exactly.
So
hey, I just pinned up top too. I don't know if you saw what Jacob posted earlier regarding the proposal that will have like the NFTs the contract will launch if the proposal hits yes.
Yeah, it's live. It's live.
Yeah, and but it's really neat. Like if you're thinking about the technical aspect of that, it's kind of similar to, it reminds me of kind of what you went through with that, Ben. This is another like custom contract-ish kind of thing, which is pretty cool.
It's kind of cool. Nouns forks Zora, and now Nouns is minting on Zora through the protocol. It's pretty cool. Full circle.
So if I don't know if I explained that correctly, but the proposal has a transaction that if it gets executed, it will automatically launch this collection. It's already built in. They don't have to do anything. It's really neat.
Yeah, it's kind of leveraging the DAO contract as the deployer to create an NFT. Yeah, it's really cool. I love that sort of stuff. And Jacob's definitely big brain on that aspect for sure. Like that's his jam. Minting everything. Mint your ideas, mint your conversations.
I want to mint his brain. His brain is fabulous.
Well, he is. That's what he's
Sorry,
doing.
this is fangirl night.
Yeah, you can do it like
Apparently.
one idea at a time because he's minting them all.
Yeah, he's minting it all daily at the moment, it looks like. But yeah, and to get back to 189, it looks like it's opening for voting.
It's open, man.
It says ends in 5 days. It just opened.
Yep.
Go, go, go.
Wait,
let me go.
hold on.
Let me just go and do the most
Yeah, go,
apparently
why don't
unethical
you
thing and vote.
Go do a thing right now.
Is that enough?
Well,
A little bit more.
Put a little more sauce on it.
I don't know what that last
Was that a turkey?
Can neither confirm nor deny. Whenever Woody puts new ones on here, I have to try them out. I can't help it.
I couldn't tell if that was like a turkey sound effect or if that was you.
It kind of sounds like my POAP noise, but it is
Right?
indeed a turkey. And anyways, getting back to the wait, hold on. Where is that one? Never mind. Just go back to the guest. I was going to try to find the back to the guest noise. Oh, here it is. Now back to the guest. There we go.
By the way, the people know that we are right now in the now jam sessions. I think it should be clear that that's why we are out here chilling. Not really. Man, my English is really bad. Not really.
Yep.
Not
Yet
really.
another 9 o'clock live Gnars jam session combo. We're getting to be pretty good dancing partners at this point.
We got an active auction if you want to check it out.
Yes, let's jump into the auction, and that is at NAS WTF. I wanted to bring up Satori. You've been on the stage for a long time, man. I'm so glad that you're here. Let's get some NAS news update. What's been happening in the NAS world?
We have a couple of active proposals going on right now. So we have Lucas Roca, he's a bodyboarder. So he's got a proposal that's live right now. Voting ends on December 16th around 5 p.m. EST. And we also have another active proposal for Kai and Troy, a snowboarder and a filmmaker. And I believe Kai goes by Methaverse, and he, I believe, was one of the main contributors on creating the video that Gammy posted with the NFT, along with Prop 189. That was the open edition that's still running. And I'll find a link for that, and I'll pin that up at the top if anyone wants to check that out as well.
Yeah, have you guys seen how many people have minted that? It's crazy.
How about that?
Yeah, I was pretty surprised. A lot. There's been almost 1,200 so far.
Yeah, with 425 different collectors. So shout out to Jacob Horn for telling us to mint it ourselves. It's awesome.
And I really like that, and I already listed one. I like how you made it like everyone should mint at least 3, because is this like a rule from NFT 2020? I would say NFT 2020, like, oh, when you go to mint a collection, mint 3, 1 to sell, 1 to keep, and 1 to send to your vault. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Get
Is that why
some
you
for
guys
your
did
homies.
3?
Pretty much, yeah. Just like it's interesting. Like there's actually a little bit of sales volume on the secondary, and I set up a 6.9% royalty going to the NounsDAO treasury. So
can I still mint them, or is it too late?
Yeah, you can mint them until voting closes. I made the timer almost exactly the same, as close as I could get it.
I was like,
where do we find this thing?
Should I mint 1, 2, or 3? What's the right social norm here to do? Like, am I
3?
Do I want to like? Yeah. Okay, so 3 is it. Love it. Thank you.
3.
Where's the link?
And then switch
Where's
wallets.
the link? Cody wants one
Then
too.
what 3 more? I don't even know why you're.
I'm trying to find it. I'll
Why
pin
is
it
this
in a
even
second.
a question?
Yeah, I've got a tweet here that I can send to you in a DM.
I'll put it up.
Oh, thank you.
I have it.
So I should just pay for an infinitely amount of gas and just have millions of these on wallets all over the planet.
I mean, you shouldn't.
Yeah, that's what we said.
That's pretty much
Yeah, I think I got the first vote in.
Nice. Provenance, baby.
I should probably go do mine.
By the way,
I'm gonna
Gami, I
go
wanted to ask you a
vote.
bit
Oh
about.
wait, I have no votes anymore. Womp womp.
Wah, wah, wah. Oh man, this is so funny. But Gami, I had a question for you. Prop 189. Can you talk a bit about this? Like the number 189. Why is it so important? What are you doing with it?
Yeah, man. When I joined Nouns, it was like really close to my birthday, and 189 was the ID number of the Noun that I bought, like the first skateboard head, and I just sort of saw that there was an opportunity to potentially do another proposal with the same number, and to me, it's just like part of like the story arc of Noun 189, and I really love the idea of each of them having, you know, their a life of their own, and I think there's probably like way less emphasis on that sort of stuff than there should be, because at some point all the data that's on chain about all of our interactions is going to become a lot more accessible for everyone, and that data can be used for all sorts of artwork and crazy experiments and visualizations and whatever. And it was actually part of like when I deployed Gnars, I put in the bid slider instead of taking every 10th Gnar. And as everyone, or most people here would know, every 10th Gnar is for onboarding athletes. But they actually are the ones that end in 7 because we have 2 contracts as migration, blah, 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 whatever. But yeah, I when you look at the on-chain data, you can see where people set the slider for every bid. So in the future, it's going to be fun to experiment with different visualizations. You know, working with like Sam Mason DeCaries and Lockie, who's been invited to collaborate, and he's excited about it. You know, there's so many things that we could do with on-chain data to make our interfaces more interesting and fun. And I just think there's a whole story to tell from the chain that a lot of people are yet to realize. So yeah, excited about that.
I love that. Love that so much. So
I still haven't recovered from interfaces.
Yeah, I
I
think that
wanted
one should
to.
stick. I'm into it.
Okay, go on.
Sorry, Davin, I missed what you said.
No, sorry. I wanted to invite Ben. I'm just trying to run through this. I know we're already over 1 hour here, but I want to invite Ben to talk about, you know, the NounsDAO contest and you know, what's going on with NounsDAO.
Well, that contest is finished. Winners have been announced. Just finalising one of the final wallets, and then we'll pay out the winners, and ultimately some of the best traits were obviously picked as winners, which is really cool. And two of them prior to even the winners being picked. Were included in the NounsDAO protocol, and that has been on testnet now for almost a month. I guess it's probably a month now. So you know, it's been kind of battle testing it a little bit and tweaking things, and it's basically ready at this point. There's a few things we want to tweak and add to it, but they're features that can be added ongoing anyway. So you know, any day now it's going to be launching, but each time I kind of think like, oh, it's going to be this day, we go, actually, let's implement this other thing real quick. So it takes another day or two, and that's happened quite a few times in the past kind of 2 or 3 weeks. So yeah, it's basically ready though at this point, and launch is imminent. And it's interesting because this is kind of the sub DAO model, right? Like this is kind of taking a niche within NAS and creating another little pod of alpine enthusiasts, and kind of focusing on proliferation in alpine resorts and leveraging partnerships and relationships with resort partners to bring nouns and NARS to all these places, which have typically got it's a slightly different subculture to just extreme sports, right? And the snow sports and alpine sports culture has typically been known as a rich man's sport. Like, it's a stereotype, and it's not like 100% down the line. You get what we call ski bums or whatever as well, who live in a van and just go snowboarding and skiing all season long for super cheap.
Live in a van like Grammy, you mean?
Yeah, exactly. It's been backed into a tree, and they just park it down in the visitors' lot and live out of it for the season.
Sort of like how you guys were talking about soccer, and how soccer is like a very low barrier of entry.
Well, yeah, exactly. Like with snowboarding or skiing, the barrier to entry financially is quite high. Like, if you've never been before, typically wherever you go, if it's at a ski resort with lifts, you're gonna be paying anywhere from $100 to $500 a night for the cheapest rooms on the mountain. You're going to be paying for either buying your gear or hiring your gear. Some of the gear you can't hire, like clothes and stuff. So like you're looking at a few grand just to get set up and get out there comfortably. And that kind of thing's not accessible to everybody. And so I think like proliferating in an area like that with that kind of attention is a valuable spot. Not only that, the first resort we've partnered with, Risutsu, has events held there in their conference center for entrepreneurs. So, like, you get people coming from over the globe to get together in Japan and discuss business and investments and entrepreneurship in general. Having Nouns branded materials around the resort, and the resort itself embracing the brand, and having NARS exhibitions with athletes and things like that. This kind of initiative, I think, has a lot of power to appeal to people that might not have any clue about any of this stuff, from NFTs to DAOs and how this stuff works in general. So I think it's a good avenue to explore, and once again, it's another experiment, right? Like, the way I see it is, NARS is a very powerful pod model to help distribute the Nouns treasury, and NounsDAO is kind of a even more specific target niche with slightly different focus on what the treasury would probably be spent on. Who knows how that goes, because that's up to the community anyway, right? But I think the things we're going to see mostly will be a lot of content creation in terms of like philosophical storytelling on how NFTs come to combine with alpine culture, and how these journeys of people that live and breathe the alpine culture go. And because you get people that are filmmakers as well, right? Like, you go out riding with your friends and film each other and then make films out of it. So I think we'll be seeing funding of that sort of stuff, which is like, there's obviously a little bit of crossover there with what NARS would fund as well, but not specifically targeting athletes per se, since NARS does that so well already as well. But looking to be a hand-in-hand situation, basically.
I just wanted to check. Can you hear me, Ben?
Yep.
Oh, cool.
You sound a little bit like you're in a van, but I don't know.
I'm outside the van at the moment. I've ventured out into the real world. It's pretty fun. So I just wanted to add, like, there was, I mentioned that I was lucky to have this call with Bob Burnquist earlier, and he was giving some really poignant advice, and he's like, and some of the key advice he gave really spoke to like NounsDAO existing. He's like, it's important that NARS is inclusive, but you also need to allow for the segmentation. And Vlad sort of added like, oh yeah, like pods. And so you can envision this like world where it's like NARS skate, NARS snow, or NARS ski, NARS BMX, whatever it is. And it's kind of like referential to Nouns itself. Like we often say like Nouns is the console, your subculture is the cartridge. And then if your subculture is the cartridge, it might be one of those ones with multiple games on it, you know, like California Games back in the day on Lynx and Atari and all that stuff. So like you can imagine like what Nouns would look like in the future, where it's this literally a network state.
Exactly.
And it's like it's actually not even it's not even like a controversial take. Like, it's, if you read into everything that the Nounders have laid out, that's the path that is the one of least resistance. And it's also the one.
The sports professionals, like, they like back it.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like we've already got a core group of people voting on proposals who are short on time, short on domain expertise, and then they're showing the stress now, right? Because they're panicking about the price, and that is just stress. That's emotion. If you think bigger picture and you imagine Nouns as a huge network state, everything falls into place, and you offload all that decision fatigue onto people that know what they're doing in a specific field. And in the future, they'll just be like, everything will be happening all at once, and the core Nouns group will just be making big decisions less often. It just seems so obvious to me.
That's right. And I kind of see it like Nouns being the sun, and then sub-DAOs and pods that are directly supported by Nouns, kind of like the planets revolving around the sun. And then you've got, like, you know, the sub-DAO of sub-DAOs, like if we're talking the next iteration of Alps, like coming out from Gnars, then that's kind of like the guys hanging out on the alpine sections on that planet. Do you know what I mean? And it's kind of like
that's a great analogy.
Yeah, like I try and liken this whole system to nature and the universe in general, just because that's how natural growth makes the most sense. When you can see those analogies and see those likenesses, then you're probably going to follow the path of life in general and not be pushing water up a waterfall. You know, just go with the flow.
Don't reinvent the wheel, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Just go with the flow and let the energy spread the way that it does, and observe nature and the patterns that it makes, and try and replicate. And that's why design follows the golden ratio and all that sort of stuff. Like it makes perfect sense.
Fibonacci is everywhere.
Fibonacci, exactly. Exactly. That's what we're following.
He did it again.
I didn't get that at first, Gami. I was gonna be like, "Oh man, who's gonna tell him?" And then I realized how clever it was.
But also just want to mention a point that Ben brought up once, like, because we have these talks, sometimes they go for like 3-4 hours, and we're both meandering kind of people, so they're long phone calls. But
and really, you were just calling him to get a signature on a multi-sig, and next thing you know, 4 hours later.
Yeah, like I missed the weekend, my van's out of fuel, like I backed it into another tree, and yeah. But we
it's like the hangover, but instead it's just the phone call.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the Ben over. But yeah, that's not right.
we'll cut that on the post, okay?
PG. So yeah, the thing that Ben brought up once, we were talking about the Nouniverse, and he's like, well, if you take away that concatenation, it's no universe. And then if you think about the universe is infinitely expanding, there's always a space just outside of it where it doesn't exist yet. And the whole sort of nounish vibe is this, like, you put on the glasses and you can see through to those possibilities. And it's like, I know it sounds very cultish, but it's like...
Follow-up question, how high was Ben when he came up with this image?
Interestingly,
well, he was straight, but I was high.
I took Gami on a journey because he just had a toke on some weed, and I was like, oh, this is going to be a fun journey of a conversation, and took it into like the universal analogies for quite a while, and it was such a good conversation because and that specific topic there as well was like one of the best takeaways, I think, as well, because it's like just it speaks so much to the fact that the brand is glasses and being able to see through the glasses and find those niches, because it's a new universe that doesn't exist yet, and we're watching it grow. And you find your value in the position that you're in, and expand out and just like embrace that evolution. And I think like that kind of culture is super nounish. Like that's kind of, to me, what it just, I don't know, that so many things just tie together. It pulls in the serendipity of nounishness and how people cross paths as things are rotating the sun. And it's a wild situation when you really go deep on the patterns from nature replicating in the nouniverse. And yeah, I just love to see it. I love to be here for it. I love to be part of it, and seeing all these different planets form at the moment, and then the pushback of people that think they can control the sun. It's a wild system, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, if anyone ever doubts like sub-DAOs having the right initiatives in place, like with proliferating nouns, just listen to Ben. Especially if you just had a toke, like he'll take you on a journey.
Well, I know. I mean,
Where do I sign
realistically,
up?
if you think about it, I mean, it just makes sense though that the people who are the most in touch with individual culture touch points will be able to be the ones to best allocate within those niches. It's just kind of obvious, right? But I think it just comes down to that trust layer. And do DAO members trust a certain sub DAO or a certain community to be able to allocate those resources? And that trust decision is always going to be there. And I can understand why some, especially maybe new nouners, are pushing back, saying, well, I don't know these people. I don't trust them with 700 ETH. But
Yeah,
at some point in time, no matter the ETH amount, that trust decision is still being made eventually.
and they haven't spent the year hanging out on each of these different planets that are revolving around nouns. These different places across all these different discords that have existed prior to the nouns discord being disbanded. But now people are getting forced to try and understand that, and they're naturally trying to congregate around the sun still, in a sense, in their own little friction pod, in a sense. And it's like, I guess that's valuable to the DAO still, having a friction pod to decide on, financial aspects of it. But as long as it's not predatory and, trying to exploit the DAO's treasury themselves, and then using that as the excuse for other planets or sub DAOs that are trying to proliferate the meme, that are building and doing things like that. I think it's a good thing to have all the different views, and it's definitely getting interesting at the moment. That's for sure. This part of the cycle as well, bringing in all the salt bays just in here, sprinkling salt everywhere. It's crazy.
I love to think of someone. I love to think of someone who just stumbled into this space and they're like, "What kind of astronomy space did I find myself in here tonight?" This is not what I expected at all. If we can take a little quick break here, we can come back to Gnars in a second. But I would like to give out the POAP for tonight's space, because we are coming on over an hour and a half, and we haven't given it yet. Ryan Mack got rugged, unfortunately, and I can't seem to find him to bring him back up. But I have double checked, and I've got the password here for you. So if you'd like to mint a free NFT for having been here with us today, you can do that by going to poap.xyz, downloading the app for your iPhone or your whatever other phone you want to use, Android, etc. Once you've got that app on your phone, you go to Mint on the bottom right and then click Secret Word, and you're going to put in this exact secret word. I tried to do a word that encompassed our guest today, but it only really works if I talk like Gami. So it's Nas Darlington. Nas Darlington, mate.
That's pretty good.
Oh, the window might not be open.
Yeah, it is. It should be. I checked
Oh,
it.
give her. That's pretty good. Hey, give her.
Yeah, we should just do a spaces where I pretend to be you and vice versa. I think it'd be fun.
Oh
So
man,
it's gonna
Just
be
Trading Places space. I'm not able to get it.
Yeah,
G-
secret not found, says.
I literally just minted it like 2 minutes ago. That's so bizarre.
Maybe just check the secret time window again. It's probably just shut off again.
Yeah, like I set it to like 8 hours in the future, so that doesn't make sense.
hey, just give her. It'll be fine. Give her.
How do you spell Darlington?
Hey, Toby, if you try to do 8 hours in the future, it won't work.
Okay, hold on. I haven't even
spelled.
this for you yet. I've done a joke. I've done a bit. You haven't even let me spell it yet. And everyone's telling me the window's not open yet. How about we try spelling it first and then see if it works? Gnars space DARLINGTON. Maybe if you let Tony.
Oh, yeah, that did it.
Got him. Thanks, bro.
And I'm
Psych
so
out!
easily
Big psych out on that one.
psych out. Nas Darlington. G'day,
Nas,
mate.
mate.
G'day,
Yeah,
mate.
mate.
Got some Nas Darlington.
So the Boston version of that is Nas Darlington too. That's also
Oh,
his name.
yeah. That's
Nas
right.
Going in the
Darlington.
bar.
That's exactly how we say it. Nas Darlington.
Well, while we're here and in the POAP app, let's do the NAS one as well. The secret word for the NAS one is proliferate the nogs with no spaces.
Proliferate. Is it Nogs with one G or two?
Just one G.
All right. I got it.
Singular G.
Yeah. And about the Noun Square POAPs, I just caught them all up to about 2 days ahead from now. This morning, they've just got to upload them all to the system still. So there's quite a few coming. We've had some amazing artists. We've had 0x Kath doing a week worth, and then it's just transitioned into 0x Darius doing some. So these are really cool. And Darius's ones, because he's traveling on the road at the moment, he did them ahead of time and in his style. But he said he's going to come back and potentially do them if he can make the time soon to switch them out for each actual daily noun and make them for each noun visually as well once he can.
So
But
if
either
you're an
way, that means
artist,
you get
so
to
if you're
see
an
so
artist,
many.
if you're an artist and your name starts with 0x, then you can do POAPs.
Yeah, exactly. And speaking of which, if you are an artist and you haven't had a chance at doing the Noun Square POAPs, tag me in the Noun Square Discord and I can add you to the calendar and we can discuss doing a week worth. We do usually just sign people up for a week at a time, and we want to showcase some more artists.
Awesome.
Yo, I just minted today. I minted a new piece today at PBS Kids. Check it out. All noggles, all the time. Font nouns. Check it out.
All right. Thanks, PBS. Joshua Fisher, you've had your hand up so long, it's probably really starting to cramp. What's up?
No, it feels good. I stretch.
Okay.
I want you guys. I'm wondering if we can go to the top of this space, find the 24-hour holiday contest that we dropped yesterday, and if you can go to the quote tweets. Last I checked, we had over 50 entries, and I'm pretty sure we've got a few more since then.
89, my friend. 89 entries. Quote tweets.
Well, I don't know exactly how many, if that's exactly how many entries, but scroll through some of these. I mean, really cool stuff. Look at this Santa and the reindeer standing next to each other. If you click on the tweet and then you click on the retweet button, that's how you get to a view of all the different retweets.
Wait, are you trying to trick people into retweeting the tweet? Because that's what it
No, I
sounds
want you to look at all the different retweets we have. We have so many cool ones.
That's the quote tweets. If you click retweet, it's just going to keep retweeting it.
I'm sorry.
But you can do that too if you like.
Yeah, do that anyway. Yeah.
I thought you were like big brain getting everybody to retweet the room.
No, Mind Toasted's is so good. I love Mind Toasted's style when he's always hanging things with ribbons and stuff everywhere. It's awesome.
Oh my God, Duckhead has like a little Christmas tree noun thing. It's so cool. So we're gonna have 12 winners at 0.069 ETH.
Amazing. This is rad. There's some really cool ones in here. Illustradoras, there's like a tree snowboarding with Gnars in it. This is awesome. Nice crossover for this space as well.
Ooh, there's a snow globe by Johnny Silverfish. That's fun.
The 3D car, like a flying car, a cartoon in 3D. That's awesome. So good. Tons of good ones in here.
People made amazing things. I saw amazing entries in the last 24 hours. They're amazing. They were all so great. They're really great.
Yeah,
I was even wondering, there's always that period of nervousness where you're like, I don't know, 24 hours, maybe it's not enough time. There's no entries yet, and then people just always come through. So I should never worry.
We got another 24-hour contest that started today.
What?
Yeah,
Say it ain't so, Joshua
we have
Fisher.
another one. I posted it earlier. This is a meme contest. So 11 winners, 0.03 each. Just having some fun. Let's see some Christmas memes. Thank you to Nouns Christmas for supplying the memes and the artwork. Let's see what the community can do. Have some fun.
All right. Can you repin that actually? Can you pin that for everybody? Find it, Josh, and pin it.
It's the second tweet pinned, I think. Or is it a different contest?
Let me find it. Yeah, it's a different one, right? Oh no, it's not. They just look similar. Okay, I'm repinning it so that we can find it easily. Now it's the most recent pin. There we go.
Nice.
All right, so take it away, guys. Maybe close it the last few minutes here, chatting about Gnars, and then we'll call it a night.
Do we have a retweet picker?
Yeah, I'm gonna do that as well. So I'll let these guys chat, and I'll have it ready before we drop.
Cool. So I don't know if Davin's made it back on, but we also have the podcast cover contest. I don't know if he wanted to touch on that at all.
Maybe Davin got rugged. It shows that he's new to the space online for some reason.
Hey guys, I just went away for a minute, but don't forget to talk. Okay, bye.
Thanks for the reminder, Tony.
Yeah, it is audio. Yeah, it is audio, so we do need to talk.
Man, that mailbox on the Gnars auction was so hot. It was like 3 Gnars ago. Do you remember there was an Alpine Gnars? I tried to like message some of you guys. I'm like, there's an Alpine Gnars. It was so hot. Alpine Gnars like 2 weeks ago. It was so cool.
Dude, I love earlier today there was Gnarly Quinn won a skateboard head Gnar that it's got the multicolored Noun logo. But the U is the same color as the shirt, so it just says non. And it went for 0.142 ETH, which is pretty massive for our auctions. So shout out Gnarly Quinn.
There's some gnarly auctions going on. Those are some gnarly auctions, I gotta say.
It's so much fun. There's some upgrades coming soon too on the auctions because we're approaching the next Narving, like it's a little while away, but do some upgrades, probably bring in the time extension as well, and just change things up a bit, keep it fresh.
For sure. And actually there's some other things on the list here of stuff we were going to talk about. There's proposals up in the NAS Discord. We're using Federation now as well, usually to vote on the NounsDAO proposal.
Great track record, by the way. Like so many in a row. The community are just so active. It's awesome.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of feedback from your mic, by the way, so you might want to just mute on and off as you're talking if you don't mind.
Yeah, will do. Thanks.
I think he was on the beach. It was the beach. There was seagulls and like the waves and like it was.
I'm in the park. In the park, just finding a tap to get a shower. You know.
Van life.
Oh, his van down by the river. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Watch out for the flamingos. They'll bite.
No, they will not.
They're too cute.
Only sometimes. Only sometimes. Only you, PBS. Be careful.
Well, I think that's
I really appreciated. Oh, I just wanted to say really quick, Cammy, I really appreciated your thoughts on like that in Ben as well. The approach of, if this doesn't pass, okay, we just revise and we come back again. And I really appreciate that because it's hard. This is hard. You take a little bit of a beating, and it's hard to keep going after that. So I appreciate that you're already in that mindset, and it's fabulous. And yeah, that's all.
It's a regular occurrence for a skater. You can try something literally 25, 30, 40 times in a row and just keep going. Eventually you nail it and you're done. you finally got there, and I think that's that culture is definitely valuable in a space where you got to deal with feedback and iterate. It's a perfect way to look at it.
It's definitely it's definitely like making a lot of sense with this proposal too. Like if we if we fail this time and we need to walk back up those stairs, maybe we adjust our feet a little bit, so we put in some extra details that we've learnt from the feedback, and then we try and maybe we have to do a different trick, like a simpler trick, but we're not afraid to have a red defeated tag. I think it's all part of the story, and everyone should embrace it more. I think, like, don't be afraid to lose.
Just ask Joshua.
Exactly.
Right, Joshua?
Well, hey, you're in good company. I will say that. We stand there right next to you. Red defeated tag. Woohoo!
I hope we get it. Right. I hope we get the defeated POAP.
Oh, I will make that. I will make that. Absolutely, if it happens.
Let's hope we don't have to.
I hope I don't have to.
When defeated.
I really hope I don't have to.
We should start a DAO called Defeated DAO.
Oh, name change.
But in all fairness, I will say, there's a much bigger issue if a prop like this gets defeated that we have to solve. About like what does the DAO actually like? If not this, what does the DAO want? Like couldn't ask for a more passionate group of people doing more powerful things, spreading the meme in a more authentic way. So if that's not what we're doing, then what are we doing?
Yeah, that's a very good question.
What are we doing?
But in all fairness, maybe I don't know. Maybe it's like, I don't know. We don't get it. I don't know.
Nah.
It's a DAO.
We might just have to have a little reverb.
Wait. We missed. What are we doing?
This is a space that we do every day. It's called 9 o'clock live.
Yeah.
And currently it's a combination with Gnars Jam Session. They do this every week. That's what we're doing.
And we're making analogies and likenesses to universe in how we act. Just setting a nature path here.
That's right.
Evolution.
We're trying to get sponsored by Nat Geo here. So
if you make a path, I'll skate it.
You realize I might be able to make that happen if you really want it. I'm just kidding. They're owned by
presents 9 o'clock live at the Noun Square. Has a good ring to it. All right, I got a retweet picker, so I can give you all a prize. And then System DM came up and he wants to say something, and then maybe we should try to wrap it up if we can. I gotta go check on my baby, so can't stay too much longer.
Hey everyone.
Hey System
GM.
Hi. Yeah, I just wanted
System DM.
Just wanted to let you all know that I've been kind of out of it, but I think the hybrid nouns are ready to launch. The first part of it, which is the Nounder hybrids that I've been doing for the hybrid nouns every 10 days. And we have everything set up to launch, and I think we're going to launch the first auction tomorrow. It's been kind of a quick thing that we finally finished it today, but we wanted to go ahead and launch the first one tomorrow. It's going to be one every 10 days, and then there's going to be a reserve price for a physical sculpture if it reaches that reserve price of 1.5 ETH. But that's for the physical sculpture. There's no reserve price for the NFT, and you can check them out at the website, which is working right now, and it's hybridnouns.wtf, and I'll post some info later tonight and tomorrow during the day. And I was hoping to go tomorrow on the Just DAO It with the prof and talk about it a little more and ask a few questions, because we have some ideas for a future DAO and all these things. Anyway, just wanted to let everyone know, and
absolutely pop by.
Yeah, that would be cool.
I will definitely chat. And it's called Builderbox now.
major
Builder
alpha.
box.
That's a major
just
alpha
out.
drop. This has an alpha drop right
Yeah.
there. I mean, they were going to say January. January was when
So
hybrid
it'll be
nouns were
great.
supposed.
Yeah, no, it's we're
Yeah,
planning
hybrid
because
nouns I've been waiting for. So excited.
yeah, it's super exciting. But it turns out like this week has been super busy, and I haven't been. So everything just kind of came together at the last minute, and we want to go ahead and it's because there's like 45 of them that are already out, right? So they're not the current nouns, and so that the next one is 550, 551. So we're hoping on we're going to start the first auction with hybrid noun 01 tomorrow, and then that'll go for 10 days, and then in 5 days we'll launch the next one, 550, 551, and they'll go like that every 10 days, alternating. So every 5 days there'll be a new auction that will last 10 days, and it'll be like the first one and the current one until they all match up. And it's going to take 5 years to do the whole thing, so it's a slow thing.
Oh my God! They will match up mathematically. They'll eventually match up.
Well, eventually not match up, but eventually, like eventually there will be none, but the current ones. I can't remember. I calculated how long it's going to take for that to happen, but because there's already
because the noun to nouns only goes for 5 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. That's really exciting.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it. And definitely
Cool.
pop by. Build
Yes.
Box is at 4 p.m. tomorrow. I cannot find the link, but I will post it tomorrow.
Yeah, definitely. And I'll post things later tonight and tomorrow during the day for everyone to know all the details. And yeah. But anyway, that's it. Sorry I came just like that at the end of the show without notice, but
well, that's some
all
good
good.
alpha.
Thank
So
you, and come
appreciate
again
you.
tomorrow.
Appreciate
And
you.
Tody,
Yeah, it's awesome.
congratulations.
Yeah, we'll see you tomorrow.
Oh, thanks, brother. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you guys.
All right, guys, I've got a retweet picker for you. Who wants to give me a little bit of a drum roll for the winner? 0.069 ETH for retweeting the room. I see him. He's in the space. We know him. He's around. Couldn't do it without him. Sitting right beside System DM here, up almost on the stage. It's BTC Bob. Congratulations, Bob. Congratulations. All right, Ben, you want to take us out? Or Gami's back on stage. Gami. We established earlier it was Gami, so I don't know why I'm asking. But Gami, take us out with one last word on Gnars before we call it a night. No pressure.
Oh man, is there heaps of background noise? I just got a meat pie.
No, not bad actually.
Okay, I guess last word on Gnars is extremely nounish equals gnarly. So if you want to get as nounish as it gets, get gnarly, come over to Gnars.wtf. Join us.
Love it.
Oh yeah.
All right, guys. That's all we got for you. We gave you a POAP. We minted a new noun. We chatted with Darlington from Monstercat. We got super gnarly. I think that's a pretty good night. What do you guys think?
I think that's good. I think we just need some really awesome music to play us out since it's a pretty music-heavy situation.
How about this? Got some Wiz Khalifa.
Let's go.
Mike's going to go to get us a freebie on the copyright strike, and then he's going to see Wiz Khalifa on the end. He's going to be like, I can't do anything about this.
Thanks, everybody, for coming. Thanks for hosting, guys. This has been awesome.
Thanks, Tony. Thanks, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Give us some emojis if you had fun tonight. See you guys all tomorrow. But it's all good now, cause the same ones are telling you when you made it. Another one. Say you wanna be famous, now you got a new place.
I thought Wiz Khalifa was a rapper.